Morning. Just going to run through quickly for the benefit of a couple of new members which have just joined the daily selection sheet and what the various columns mean. Just going through the columns here, B and C, got the meeting and time. Where it's highlighted orange, then that indicates the national hunt race, flat or weather, it being black. The name of the horse there, obviously, in the date. Column E is the draw, stall number. The green columns are now the various different systems. You've got the PS first. Taking yesterday's selections, there weren't any qualifiers from the PS system, hence why it's blank. If there had been PS selections, which are the pace selections, those which will be expected to lead from the start, then the rating number would be in pink in that column, and also the horse would be shaded pink to indicate that it was a pace selection, i.e. Selection which would lead from the start. The remaining systems in green: FF87, TX, GQ, and XC, which are a new criteria filters that I've introduced. They're basically all the same insofar as they highlight selections which are expected to run well, travel well in running, but won't necessarily lead the race. Could lead the race, but more likely to contract in price because of their running style, i.e. they'll travel okay during the race. They've all got a numerical rating, as you can see, apart from the GQ and the XC, which G is a ground criteria and XC is course criteria, and that sort of goes on some of the numbers from these columns in yellow, which additional grounded course stats, which I'll explain in a moment. So moving on to the yellow columns now. G1 is a percentage, and as is C1. G1 and C1 are both percentages. G1 indicates percentage whereby the selection has contracted by at least 20% on how many times it is run on the going. So, for example, if I can't remember what the going was, but yesterday, if the going at Worcester was good to firm, then Al Alpha would have ran. We would find from that selection, Al Alpha would have contracted in price on 87% of its runs on the going forecast going, the good to firm going. The difference between the pink and the grey is that pink would indicate that the selection is run 5 or more times on the forecast going. If the box was shaded grey, it would mean the selection is run between one and 4 times on the going. So you can see that all the selections yesterday have had several runs on the forecast going. Rebel Rebellion, can't remember how many times it run, but it's every time it has run on the forecast going at Worcester. Every time it run on the forecast going, it would have contracted by 20%, so it's got a 100% record. Moving on to the course stats, it's a similar thing. See that taking Al Alpha, which was the video selection yesterday, every time it has run at Worcester, it is contracted by at least 20%. So we've got the 20% contraction there, but it's only run between 1 and 4 times. Don't recall the number of times it's off the top of my head, but as you can see, it's 100%, but it's only run between 1 and 4 times. Similarly, Dance King has got a poor record. It's only run between 1 and 4 times on the course, but then it didn't reach, it didn't contract by 20% at all. So if it had run twice, it didn't both times. I guess thinking about it, probably just run once at Salisbury, so it didn't reach the 20% contraction. G2 and C2. G2 is the number of times that the selection has won on the forecast going. So again, taking Al Alpha, we can see that it's won 3 times on yesterday's forecast going. Similarly, it is won once at Worcester. So it has won 1 race at Worcester. So we can see what we can deduce from that, obviously, is that it's run several times at on the going. It's won 3 times on the going. Hasn't run many times at Worcester. It could be 1, it could be 4, but it has won once when it ran at Worcester. So if we look through the stats, we can probably see that Jigsaw Financial may be the strongest. I mean, it's very subjective, but maybe the strongest selection. It's got really good stats for the course. It's course going. It's contracted by 20% at least 89% of the times on its runs. It's run more than 5 times, 5 or more times, and it's also run more than 5 or more times at the course. Every time it's run at Worcester, it's contracted by 20%. So we'd expect it maybe to do so again. It's obviously run a few times. It's actually won 5 times at. It's 5 times on the going, and it's won 4 times at Worcester. So yeah, really strong stats there, and it qualifies under reasonably high rating of 70 on the FF system. If we just take a look at the results for yesterday, again we got a contraction on 5 of the 6 runners. I think 1 was actually a non-runner, but we did have a pretty good day. They all most went down in price. If we look at the failure, which was Blue Bounty, which the BFSP at 31 never got anywhere near it. I didn't see the race, but didn't play that one. But so that would have been a definite loser. If we just sort of look at its stats for the day, you see it qualifies under the 87 and TX systems, but it's got a not particularly high rating, 49 and 51. It's not a course or going selection. Not that necessarily matters, but looking at its ground and course stats, we can see that it's not run on the going. Can't remember what the going was at NAS, but it's not run on the going before. It has run at NAS before. It's run 4 less times at NAS. I think maybe recalling it may have been 1 time, but on that occasion it didn't reach the 20. It's got 0% of reaching the 20% contraction. So I would suggest that Blue Bounty was the weakest selection of the day, really, looking at stats, and that was obviously borne out by the result that it didn't actually make the. It was a failure. Obviously, it doesn't work every time, but on that occasion, that was the weakest selection. Jigsaw Financial, I would suggest, was the best selection. That obviously went down to 60, so 40% contraction there would have been a winner. I didn't play that one myself either. I was out working. The best result was Kingston Corrigan, which went down by 75%, 24.4 in money. So we look at the stats for that one. Yeah, it's qualifying one of the systems there, the 87, and a reasonably high percentage rating on the going. Contracted 83% of the times on the going. Has run several times on that going. Never run at Salisbury, but it didn't seem to make any difference. So yeah, that's basically the way to read the read this daily selection sheet. You needn't go into it too deeply if you don't want to. The premise is that all the selections I put up are good candidates to for back to lay, but some obviously are stronger than others. If you want to delve a little bit deeper, then they're on the selections. That's it. That's long enough, I think. It's about long enough. Just about to do today's selections now.